Okay, so today we're going to have a quick chat about this little toy. The wonderful and very frightening Ouija board. You can tell it's frightening, can't you? Because it's got a sun on it and a little moon symbol and a little thingy bob there and a thingy bob there. Oh dear, it must be very frightening. Dear. What we've actually got here is something which is not to be afraid of in the least, and I want to encourage people to start developing a new relationship to these talking board devices. Why do I want to do that? Because it's useful for forms of introspection and analysis. Different people will prefer different forms of introspection and analysis. Some people prefer to go straight on with mindfulness meditation. That's fine. I do mindfulness as well. But once in a while, it's just worthwhile playing around to see if anything more tangible comes out of your mind. Now, for all those people who say when they see a Ouija board video, oh my god, I can tell your fingers are pushing it, that's because it is an idiomotor device. If anyone says anything to the contrary, they're a bunch of lying, cheating, stealing, evil pieces of rubbish, okay? Get that into your thick head. It's just for the idiomotor effects. And that's worthwhile playing with, because then you can use this stuff to do a bit more self-analysis. Sometimes you get gobbledygook. Something you can sit around with your fingers on your planchette, and if it does move, there you go, Y, R, B, M, W, T. Oh my god, what does that mean? It means nothing, because it's a load of garbage. And I've had lots of sessions when basically just garbage came out. So what I had to do when I was learning to use this as a device, either for myself or for my clients, or for maybe just like, the cool, fun little Halloween videos I do, is to get a more rational, intelligent perspective as to what this is about. I have never, ever, ever had the planchette moving by itself. I've had moments when it felt as though the planchette was moving by itself. What it's actually doing is there's something inside my mind which is making my fingers move. The muscles down the arm and all the rest of that, leading to the fingers, then hey presto, that then makes the planchette move. The question is, what is happening there? Okay, am I in a sufficiently clear-minded state of mind that I can both connect any apparent answer that comes out on the board with my questions? Am I in a sufficiently clear-minded state of being whereby it's likely that something is coming out of my mind through this means of expression, just like speaking is just the same. Ideas are going on inside you and a form of message comes out. Okay, with speaking, it's kind of like more, it's thought through, planned out, usually, unless of course you're just going crazy and just talking a load of rubbish. But usually it's thought through and planned out. What you're trying to do here would therefore be to try and get your subconscious mind to do some talking for you. Okay, it's doing the talking. So therefore, your mind might select a particular letter because that's the letter of the first name of the person that you're thinking about when you're asking a question about them. Alright? Is there someone in my social circle who is not very happy with me at the moment? W. Do I know anyone whose first name begins with the letter W? Maybe. Okay? Because that's not necessarily asking a ghost or a spirit or a demon, is it? That's asking a concept inside yourself. It's asking your own self-knowledge to try and filter through the debris of conscious thought, so that, boom, something can come out of your subconscious thought and then express itself, so you can then make a decision as to what that could possibly hypothetically mean. And therefore it's different. So sometimes you are actually just waiting patiently for it to seemingly move all by itself. Alright, seemingly, and sometimes it's like you're thinking to yourself, I feel called, or I feel whatever, I feel drawn to deliberately push this in a certain direction. Why am I doing that? I don't know, but it's moving in that direction, and hey presto, we get a letter. Right? And sometimes that can even be with words. Now, sometimes I've done Ouija board sessions, not seances, but sessions, in which it was purely psychological, and I could feel my mind, my back of my mind, starting to provide me with the illusion that I'm building up an understanding of some form of separate consciousness. But that particular type of experience was purely psychological. Alright? Other forms of experience, when the sense of there being another presence is much higher, and my state of mind is fortunately clear enough, or meditative enough, or whatever it is, then when I do feel called to push the planchette in a certain direction, maybe there's something more connected to that other consciousness. Maybe hypothetically, we don't know. Because the whole thing about this is that there's tons of things that we as humans don't know. So taking that into account, I don't think there's any point in being terrified of demons or spirits or angels or whatever when you're playing with one of these things, or the evil elementals are trying to take over the world. No, shut up. Okay, what we should be doing is just like thinking, okay, well, that's an interesting thing. Something happened there. But what it was and what it means, we'll just have to enter into debate and discussion with after that, because we don't know. Was it a spirit? Was it a consciousness? Was it something inside myself? Was it something outside of myself? We have to think these things through, and we have to be rigorously honest with ourselves, otherwise we'll end up in a state of delusionment. And we will end up thinking that there are, I don't know, ghosts trying to attack us and this, that, and the other. Just like all those various forms of copycat crimes that were done when the various modern day urban legends appeared. And I think, wasn't it with the Slender Man one, where little kids went crazy and did terrible things to each other and so on and so forth. These things happen, but they're only doing that because they can't think things through. They can't think things through. And there's often like people around and about who will say that, all kinds of terrible things, and will say all kinds of frightening things because of what came out of a Ouija board session, and they will draw conclusions to it which are just basically not correct via any form of rational, logical understanding. So instead of looking at the Ouija board or the talking board or whatever you want to call it as being like a gateway to hell or a gateway to demons, or the spirit of the Ouija board is evil, as I've heard one particular YouTube user say, they know who they are, alright, that's called balderdash. When you're playing with it, over the years, you start to develop more of a feeling, not just for the board and the movement of the planchette, but a feeling for how your mind is relating to the subject of things coming out on the board. Okay? I wouldn't use divination as a means to try and find hard and fast, clear-cut answers, which I can find anywhere else. I'm not going to try and get this to give me the number of the local pizza place, am I, for crying out loud sake? Alright, then when it comes to finding my car keys, I'm hardly likely to use a tool of divination to try and find them. Okay, because I would know, roughly speaking, that the car keys will be around somewhere. They'll be, and I'll be able to retrace my steps and think things through. And if I can't find it, then I'll have faith it'll turn up at some point. Okay? Get rational with what you actually want to use this for. As a tool of psychological expression, or, that kind of like self-developmental stuff going on, it's good. Alright, what's troubling me at the moment? Why have I got the letter A? Is that connected to anger? Am I aware I've got anger problems? Maybe. If I've got anger problems, then what am I going to do about it? And then maybe go down to the local lending library and read some books about how to manage anger and irritability and the rest of that, and maybe that'll do me some self-developmental good during those few months when I've got that particular issue going on. Do you understand? Do you see where I'm coming from? Do you see that this is actually a perfectly rational, logical, intelligent, self-exploratory way of playing with your mind? And I want to encourage people to start thinking about this, thinking about the pendulum that way, thinking about any form of divination, because there is, in my opinion, there is a serious, genuine component to all this stuff. Very serious, very real, very weird. But despite that, I'm not going to turn around to you and start promising the earth and then giving you a handful of dirt. I want you to be skeptical, I want you to be critical, but I still want you to play with these toys because they're good for you. Alright, about 80 or 90% of all the things I do in my life is related to my health and well-being, either of body and mind. That's just the way in which I have to live. Okay? I don't know whether you're the same or not, but I do this for me, for my benefit, and also for fun. And I think that should be the main attitudes we should be taking to these things. So thank you very much for listening, and goodbye. Just for now, anyway.